Do, 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 do. Mic check 1 2 1 2. Go ahead, Lou. Mic check.
What, what's going on? Hello, hello, hello.
Mic check 1 2 1 2. Go ahead, Lou. Mic check.
What's going on? Hello,
You sound sexy. All right.
hello.
Yo, what it do, GG Nation, GG Legion, it's your fella again, Strauss fan, the GG. Welcome to the 2020 Halloween special, Golden God and Friends, episode 51. Yes, another one. I have a special guest with me. JJ was my special guest last year, but I got Lou this year. He skipped right into everybody's hearts. How you doing, Lou? Hard to believe
Good.
it's Halloween again tomorrow already, isn't it?
Yep, year went by so quick.
I know.
So,
Still less than 2 weeks out for our PS5. Lou got his PS5 controller. We did not get our headset today, but that was to be expected. Probably most likely next week, I'm assuming. At least that's what Lou and I hope. It's next week we get our PS5 headset, but you never know. It might be till the 12th or whatever.
yeah, honestly, might not be until then, but we'll see. I'm excited to get the rest of my accessories.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. How you doing today, man? You excited to be on the pod today?
very excited. Tired, but that's to be expected. I had a long day today, so
Me too.
I'm
I'm a
ready
little
to go.
tired too, man. Been grinding a few hours on this, the new show content drop, man. There's a lot of goodies, a lot of great cards today. Um,
Yep.
a lot of good stuff. Hard to believe it's Halloween, but today's episode is all about horror. We're gonna talk about horror video games, TV, movies, games. Just having fun. How we got into it. You've seen. You can go back and watch the other Halloween specials where I had JJ and my buddy Nightface. Shout out to you. Hope you're doing well, brother. I had him on the year before that, so I appreciate all the love and support on both channels. So make sure you smash the hell out of the like button here. Comment down below what's your favorite horror stuff, and make sure you sub if you're new and share it and have that noti bell on. But Lou, what got you into horror? If you have even a big interest at all? I know you're a big connoisseur of Walking Dead, so I'm assuming we will be talking some Walking Dead. How you doing, Shannon? But what kind of got you in some horror elements in video games that you like, or TV or movies, or
Well,
one of your favorite shows, Walking Dead? So go ahead.
yeah. Well, horror for me, it's not really one of my favorite genres. Like, I don't go out looking to watch horror movies,
Yes,
but I
yes.
can, I can, I can deal with horror stuff.
What up, Joe?
Some of it, gets me a little paranoid, or I feel a little anxious,
Yep.
depending on what the game or the movie is or the show.
Well,
I
that's
never
its
really got.
job. That's what they're supposed to do. But,
Yeah, I never felt that way with The Walking Dead though. Like The
yes.
Walking Dead, like when I first started watching it, I watched it from the beginning on Netflix before the Negan saga. Literally like that season where Negan was revealed and the mystery death. I started watching it. I binged it, and it was a pleasant surprise. So it was a very good show. Still a very good show. Uh, but there's some things that I like, some things that I don't, and I'm sure we'll address that on the way.
Y-
So
Yeah. What before we dabble into more, was there any particular horror game that scared you back in the day that you first discovered? What was your first introduction to horror video games? Anyway.
it was probably one of the Resident Evil games. I remember going over to my cousin's house because growing up, we never growing up when I was a kid. I mean, I was scared of like killer clowns from outer space when I was like 5 years old,
Oh
and
yes, yeah, that's a scary movie for sure. Yeah.
yeah, I was like 5 years old, and my parents showed me that, and to this day, clowns don't sit with me. But
Except
but
for
it's not
Sweet
one of
Tooth,
those.
right?
Yeah, but it's not one of those things like if I see a clown, like I can't be in the same room with it. It's just kind of like it gives me that weird, creepy feeling.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
But
feel you.
yeah, but I really don't. I don't look for horror. I know there's a lot of people that love horror. They love the
Yes,
aspect.
yes.
They love the feel. But I can kind of like give or take and etc. But one of the Resident Evil games, I went over to my cousin's house and he was playing it, and I was not willing to be in the same room when he was playing it. So it's just the way that it was at the time. But I kind of grown from that a lot more over the years.
I
So
gotcha. Joel says horror now relies way too much on gore. A little bit. I kind of agree. There's not enough suspense anymore in horror movies. It's all about the kills and the splashiness, which is the point of the early slasher movies back in the day. But my story is with horror as well was video game wise was Resident Evil 1 on PlayStation 1. I had a neighbor back in the apartment complex. I was a little kid. I probably was in third grade. I was probably like, what age are you in third grade? Like 7 or 8 or something? Um,
yeah,
and
yeah.
he showed me Resident Evil, and I was so freaked out. I was so freaked out, especially on the when there's a particular instance in Resident Evil 1 where you walk down this hallway and the zombie dogs jump through. Oh, dude, that freaked the hell out of me as a kid. My parents used to tease me a lot with horror movies in terms of Chucky. Um,
Yes.
The Child's Play series, but Chucky used to freak me out when I was like 5 years old. My parents would always tease me about Chucky, that Chucky wasn't getting, and I believed them. Obviously, as a kid, you believe your parents.
I
Uh,
used to have I used to have bad dreams about Chucky. It's funny
yeah,
you mentioned that because that was my parents' like favorite scary movie to watch.
yeah.
So I would watch it with them, but it was such a freaky dream. And kind of I could still vividly remember them because I used to have them like every once in a while, and I think I had one a couple of years ago. But Chucky would be chasing me with a knife, and he somehow lost the knife, and he started throwing his legs at me like they would just like regrow, or his arms. So he just start taking them off and start throwing them at me. And I just remember running down like this endless like little hallway that I used to
Hallway,
live
yeah, it's
in.
always that.
Yeah,
The endless damn
yeah.
hallway. It feels like
So
it's forever. Uh, it's just how it's working on Discord, Savage. Good to see you, bud. I hope you're doing well. Friday the 13th for Nintendo when I played it for the first time scared me. Jason chasing after yeah, and that's an interesting point, Shannon, as well. The Friday the 13th game on NES was kind of like a puzzle action adventure type game, and Jason was like purple in that game because they couldn't, they didn't have a lot of colors back then to use. But I
yeah,
remember Jason being distinctly purple. They have that figure, the Nintendo Jason. They also have that color in the Friday the 13th game, which you guys saw us play a lot last year. Um, the movie Creepshow 2 traumatized you for life, Joel. Yeah, everybody has the one. It was Chucky for me for a long time. Child's Play. Eventually, I grew to appreciate it when I started growing older a little bit more. I kind of like the gore and a lot of games blur the lines now, like Last of Us. Very survival horror type game, um, but has such a deep story that you kind of get lost and you don't think of the clickers as zombies and stuff because it's not about them. It's not about the scare. It's about just the two characters growing up. Growing a bond together, I should say, not growing up, but Joel and Ellie growing up together. Uh, Resident Evil has been one of my favorite franchises in gaming history. I really, a big fan of horror anime, Hellsing Ultimate, very violent type. If you guys know me in our show we haven't done in a while, Anime Time. I need to drag Chad out, and we got to do Anime Time again. But we used to talk about our favorite animes, and some of my favorite animes are the more violent, horror ones, Berserk and Hellsing Ultimate. I like the more violent type of things. I know I'm sounding like a psycho right now, but it's something that is about imagination and stuff like that, not stuff you would really want to do in real life or anything like that. And that's the cool part about video games and movies and TV and anime. You know, he's not gonna do any of that shit. We don't have like any superpowers or anything like that, but it's really interesting. But it's fun to hear some of your guys' story. You didn't like Modern Chucky, the Child's Play 2018 movie or 19 movie. My dad and I just saw it. It was all right. It was like, I wouldn't say it was like a remake or reboot. It was more like a parody type. Like a cover. It was like a cover band. It was like an interesting idea, but not really Child's Play at the core.
Yeah.
But we talked about some of our experiences with horror. Let's get into TV a little bit, since you're a big Walking Dead connoisseur, and I used to be back in the day. I used to really love the earlier seasons, and then I kind of got out around 4 or 5, 6-ish. I kind of hopped in and out and never really came back. Walking Dead is still going on. They're still having a bunch of spin-offs. What do you think of the Walking Dead climate going on right now, Lou? What do you feel? How do you feel about where they started, where they're at now, and how they're going into the future?
Well, The Walking Dead, I think it's got a good future. I kind of think that this part of the story is kind of a little bit too late, because they should have did this story when people are starting to fade. Yeah. But it's a good story that they're doing thus far. I'm not going to go into much details because I don't want to reveal spoilers.
Yeah.
But eventually they're going to do a Walking Dead universe from what it sounds like. And they're going to combine all the shows. And that's kind of what this new show is, World Beyond. It seems like that they're getting ready to bridge Rick Grimes' story.
Which is three movies, right?
Yeah, it's 3 movies.
Are they TV movies or like theatrical movies? I know there's COVID going on and stuff like that, but
they announced before COVID that it was going to be in the theaters.
Yeah.
That it was going to be in the theaters. I don't know if that's still the case. I don't know what's going on, but I know that Andrew Lincoln, who plays Rick Grimes, is currently doing a movie. Yeah. I forgot what the name of the movie was, but it's in England. I saw it a couple of days ago, and I read it in an article. So I guess I don't know what they plan on doing, when the movie is going to come out soon, but they're developing the story as it goes, and I assume the movie will lead to what World Beyond ends at. World Beyond and Walking Dead. As you know, Walking Dead's going to end in 2 years from now. They're going to extend. They're going to only do season 11, but they're going to extend it 2 years. So, Fear the Walking Dead. They really haven't touched on that Walking Dead universe. They've kind of giving you some hope here and there, but they haven't fully gone that way because they have their own storyline that they're doing right now. So I'm very excited for it. I hope that this kind of brings people back to watching The Walking Dead, but I can understand that it kind of missed its peak a little bit by a year or two.
Yeah, a lot of people said, Joel in the chat said he got tired of Walking Dead. I think that was for a lot of people because it's going on, season 8 or 9 already?
It's on, it just ended season 10.
Season 10, so I mean, they've been going on for a long, long time.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing and pretty amazing that this show, a lot of shows don't last this long anymore. Usually you get maybe 2 to 3 seasons max before your show gets canceled, or, maybe you push it to 5, but a lot of shows don't get that much of length anymore. Walking Dead was a big phenomenon. Like, everybody loved Walking Dead. The original 2 seasons, people were just, it was this phenomenon. Every time you went to a con or anything, like, waves of Walking Dead. Made celebrities out of, Norman Reedus and so many others on that show, which is kind of a cheaply run show, but, AMC took a shot on it. Pretty gory show, and it I won't say it's like the phenomenon it used to be, but still, that's a testament of the hard work in the creative team to kind of keep that thing going alive. Like Walking Dead, it's a powerhouse, and hopefully, hopefully it ends sooner than later, I would say, for most people. But it doesn't seem like they're stopping the train at all anyway, though, doesn't it, Lou?
No, I think that they're gonna. I think they're gonna end what seems to be Rick Grimes' story. You know, The Walking Dead, the original show.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think they're gonna move away from that, and I think they're gonna probably start like a whole new phenomenon because the world of The Walking Dead, the world that they live in, can really go on forever.
Yes.
Like it can really go on for as long as they really want it to go on. And they've talked about in past years over articles that they want this to be a phenomenon for many years to come. But we thought it would just be that they would keep going with The Walking Dead, with Norman, and maybe one of these days Andrew comes
he's getting
back.
his own show, right? Him and Carol?
Yeah, they're going to get their own show, and little tidbits have been coming out that they're going to you go on their own adventure, then come back to, The Walking Dead show, Alexandria. I don't even know if they even call it Alexandria anymore.
Yeah.
Spoilers, sorry.
It's all good.
But,
It's all good. It's fine. It's fine.
But yeah, I mean, it's going to be one of those things that Norman's going to probably take it over from there, and we'll see where the show goes from there
Norman,
and what
they
the new
up,
adventures.
and you need to be in the next Kojima game. That's what you need to do, sir.
I hope that's the case, right? I don't think he has a problem being in the next Kojima game.
The funny thing is, Kojima's a lot of rumors that he wants to do. His next game's a horror game, and it's true. He said in an interview that his next game he would like to do is a horror game. So that's why those Silent Hill rumors were kind of going around. But I actually think it's Team Silent that is doing, not Team Silent. I'm sorry, the Siren Team. That was originally Team Silent back on the PS1 and PS2 days of Silent Hill. That Sony owned team. I think they're working on the Silent Hill reboot. But I know Sony's trying to get some of those Konami IPs for sure. They're trying to get Silent Hill, Metal Gear, and a few others, which would be great to see back, and Silent Hill come back better than ever. A lot of people, the peak for Silent Hill was Silent Hill 2, for a lot of people, Pyramid Head, stuff like that. And one of my personal favorite, though, was 3. I really love, for whatever reason, I love Silent Hill 3. I like that one. I felt like it was very creepy and stuff like that.
You brought that up. To get off the topic for 1 second.
Yeah, go ahead.
PlayStation just acquired Crunchyroll, right?
Supposedly that is true. Yes, supposedly they might own one of the biggest anime apps. And actually, I think they kind of own Funimation already as well. I think Sony owns Funimation, or has an exclusive deal with Funimation. So Sony would own pretty much all of anime if they bought Crunchyroll, if that deal is true.
Yeah, because I don't know, I didn't read too much into it because I'm not really an anime guy. But
yeah,
I just
you're
saw,
a bad
the
person.
highlight.
We have established this. We understand.
But just going through the Twitterverse, I saw
baby.
a headline. I saw a headline that said that they acquired them. I think it was $1 billion, or they're working on acquiring them.
Yeah, it's
I don't know the whole story.
Process, I think it's true. I think it's valid.
Okay.
But it would be a huge move in terms of anime industry, because if you want to literally watch anime, you got to watch it on your PlayStation. That's pretty big to own the two biggest apps, Crunchyroll and Funimation. It's probably gonna piss off a lot of people for sure. A lot of people don't like exclusivity. I think it's a smart business move. Incredible smart business move. And funny thing, shout out to Chad the Bearded Wonder himself. We were actually just talking about that move earlier. That's big. It's really big if it's true. And I think it is. I think they're in the process for sure. And Lou and I, or I should say JJ and I, forgot to mention that Sony's definitely in the process of probably getting more studios too. For their, they're not going to stop. A lot of people talked about, because we're going to get into gaming anyway. I brought a bunch of horror games out to show everybody. But Sony's not going to stop acquiring studios. I know Microsoft got the ZeniMax deal and got Bethesda, which was huge. But if you think Sony's going to stop and just rest at, getting Insomniac, they're not. I think they're definitely going to get Blue Point Kojima for sure. Lou and I are about to talk about Demon Souls because we're gonna get into video games a little bit. Let's talk about movies a little bit more. Let's talk some fun stories. What other horror movies that bothered you when you were younger, Lou?
Oh man, I mentioned Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Yep.
I was like
Chucky,
5 or something. Chucky, yeah.
What about
Nightmare
Freddy,
on Elm Street.
Jason, Leatherface? Any of those guys freak you out back in the day?
Nightmare on Elm Street with Freddy. I think he's probably the most terrifying in my opinion to me. A guy that shows up in your dreams.
Yeah.
So,
the
to
safest
me,
place where you're supposed to be, right? Your dreams.
yes. So, yeah.
I kind of miss the creativity of horror nowadays. Like Joel brought up a good point a while ago that they just rely on gore too much now. But how brilliant was it to make Nightmare on Elm Street with Freddy Krueger, where someone that could get back at the families that burnt him alive and kill their children in their dreams, the safest place they're supposed to be. Brilliant move, and Child's Play, even though it was goofy, but a human getting possessed, human soul getting trapped in a doll, like it. Again, a little corny, but I kind of miss the creativity. I know they had Annabelle, like the Annabelle movies were really popular. Jeepers Creepers is pretty fun horror movie. I don't know if you ever watched that one, Lou.
Yeah, I've seen it, but it's not. It's give or take. Like I never if I ran into it, I would watch it, but I never went out of my way to go watch horror.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So it's not one of those things like I am a little bit of you feel paranoia and the suspense of it, but like you said though, like today's horror movies, the suspense is just I think Joe said it right. The suspense is just not there. It's all gore.
Yeah,
it's just
about
all gore.
The jump scare nowadays. It's almost like a roller coaster ride. When you go into a theater now, it's all about that jump scare. I do want to talk about, even though it does kind of do that a little bit, I do want to talk about It Chapter 1. I thought it was a fantastic telling of that Stephen King's novel It. I think they did a really good job. There was a lot of child gore, a lot of child violence, a lot of child death in that movie. They did not shy away from that. It was a very violent movie, but I think Bill Skarsgård acted incredibly well. I think they purposely made, because this was a lot when they first saw the design of It or Pennywise, Bill Skarsgård Pennywise, he looked too terrifying compared to Tim Curry's version of Pennywise, which is a more normal looking clown. And a lot of people find clowns creepy. Lou mentioned that already. Killer Clowns in Space. You creeped out. I was creeped out of that movie too, even though it was more a silly, goofy movie as a kid. It's really interesting that they kind of went with a darker looking tone already. Like, he already looked fearsome. Because a lot of people were like, how are you going to lure kids in when you look so damn scary already? Where that was the brilliance of Tim Curry's part, where he kind of looked like a normal clown, and he just kind of, got kids to lure them in, scare them, and eat them. Because the whole point of It is that he takes on many forms. He takes on your biggest fear. It's like salting the meat for him. When he scares you, that fear makes you more delicious, and that's what he wants to eat you. He's if you really want to get deep into it, it's like the clown Pennywise, or It, the creature itself, is like this interdimensional being that fell from this different worlds from space. No bullshit, it's what it is. I know it sounds crazy, but it's just kind of how it was. But I just want to mention that movie because I remember a few years ago, and we did a spoiler cast. Shout out to my buddy Allie. She helped me out on That's It spoiler cast, Chapter 1 spoiler cast. We had a really fun time. But when I went to watch that movie in theaters and everybody was freaked out, I just, had a good chuckle and laugh and enjoyed it. But I thought it was a really good movie, though. I thought it was, the kids, they had that Stranger Things feel. Because, 80s nostalgia is kind of back, right? Stranger Things kind of brought that on. So it kind of had that feeling in that movie. And I think you need to have a balance in today's, it's not just about the gore. You got to have a little bit of everything. You got to have good suspense, storytelling, characters, and then the gore. Have it all in one, but it's obviously that's not what makes money, so that's not what they do. Like I said, it's more like a roller coaster ride. Creativity and originality take effort. That's why there's so many reboots and remakes. Very true, Joel. It's all about just making money and cheapest and most efficient. A lot of these horror movies cost only like 30 to 50 million, where your average Avengers movie costs 300 plus million dollars to make. So if you could, and I believe it made like $1 billion or something, and it was like only like $30 million to make or something like that. Correct me down below. Let's lean into video games a little bit. I want to talk about, Lou and I are going to talk about Demon Souls here in a little bit, but I'm assuming you're going to say Last of Us, but what horror game, like modern horror game, you're kind of looking forward to, or that you played that you really enjoyed the most lately, Lou?
Let's see.
I know Last of Us was like your number one of last gen, right?
Yeah, Last of Us 1 was probably my game of the decade.
Oh, okay.
The first one. Yeah, that was definitely my game of the decade. But
I would say it's a horror. I would say it was a survival horror game, for sure.
I'm trying to think of something that I played lately, but I know I played Outlast.
Oh my god, that game is freaky.
Yeah,
I could never imagine playing that game in VR. But go ahead, talk about it a little bit.
I watched my buddy. It all started with my buddy. He wanted to play it, and he played it, and I watched him through SharePlay. And I really got a kick out of the game just because of his reaction from, like, he would hide under the bed, and he just wouldn't move. Like, he wouldn't move for like 20 minutes because he was so afraid to come out and, do anything and wander around, and, it kind of got me into it, and then my cousin got into it. I got him into that. So, it, that game to me was probably, it stands out there with The Last of Us. When I first thought of The Last of Us, because I got it for the PS4, I didn't have a PS3.
Yep.
So when I first thought of The Last of Us, I really didn't think that the horror in that game was that big.
Yes.
Until I played it.
Yeah.
So, because I knew about the journey, I knew about that. Obviously, I came from the 360, and I couldn't afford a PS3. So, when I played it, I was like, oh, this is a little bit more horrifying than I really thought. And, never really put me on my guard or anything, but it kind of gave me like a little bit of like, oh, I didn't expect that. Sort of like how people today are getting a jump scare from Call of Duty.
Yes.
So I don't know if anyone's seen that.
They added horror villains in Call of Duty which is pretty cool. I want to talk about Last of Us a little bit because I think the clickers were a brilliant idea. Fungal infection is non-curable. And I'm just talking about Last of Us Part 1, not Part 2. Fungal infection was, actual medical science. It's uncurable. But it was this airborne fungal infection that would eat your face away. And the horrific sounds of people that were starting to turn into clickers and this infection eating their face away was brilliant. Especially if you have an Astro A50 headset or any PlayStation headset, anything with like 7.1 surround sound. Very horrifying experience. And the same thing with the audio sound in Outlast. Like Outlast, you're this snooty reporter asshole with this camcorder. You're like, I gotta get that big scoop. So you go into this damn murderous, I think asylum or hospital or something.
Yeah.
And
yes.
And then you get into some shit. But I thought the clickers were a brilliant idea. I thought the sounds were very horrifying. I think a lot of days, today's day and age, because a lot of people don't think of like Lou said, a lot of people don't think of Last of Us as a horror experience, but every single way it is a survival horror game. It just has a super amazing story attached to it. It doesn't have that campy horrorness to it because the story's so well told. But it is, like, you don't have infinite ammo in that game. Ammo's very scarce. Your health is very scarce. Clickers are very hard to take down. You have to waste shivs sometimes to take them down. Absolutely brilliant game, I think. I brought some of my favorite ones up here before we get into Demon Souls, but these aren't my favorite Resident Evils, but they still have a special place in my heart as 5 and 6, even though they got really super action-y and it really wasn't as horror anymore. And then, like, Resident Evil 6 was Resident Evil 5 on, like, steroids. And it was hard to believe Resident Evil 5 was the highest-selling Capcom game until Monster Hunter World beat it, like, 2 or 3 years ago, which is hard to believe. I want to give out a special shout-out to the godfather of Resident Evil, Shinji Mikami. Evil Within 1 and 2, absolutely amazing genius horror games. I do have some problems with 2. I think 2 is a little too big for its welcome. I haven't finished it to this day, and I apologize to Chad because this is still his copy of the game that I'm borrowing. I haven't finished, but Evil Within 1 and 2, very masterful horror. And of course, you guys know, my streams got pretty popular here on YouTube when I played this, was Bloodborne. I got a lot of viewers. Shout out to some of my, I would call friends now, Zyla and Mikalosh. Love Bloodborne. Absolutely. I hope the PS5 remaster is true. I hope they're working on Bloodborne 2 with Miyazaki. But Bloodborne, I think Lou and many others still need to play this game because this game is outstanding. We platinumed it live on stream. Absolutely love this game. New take on horror. But Bloodborne and Dark Souls series is pretty epic. And Lou is going to get his first taste of the Dark Souls / Bloodborne type series. Do you have any interest anyway, though, Lou, besides Demon Souls that we're about to talk about? Do you have any interest in, like, a Bloodborne or anything like Evil Within or any of these other games I mentioned? Like Resident Evil 8. Like, I know we're about to have our new 60 consoles. So there's going to be some horror games coming out.
I don't know about Evil Within, but Demon Souls, as you well know, I pre-ordered. The Dark Souls universe, I still want to get back to that. Try to do that. It would depend on the type of game, though. So, what was the other one that you mentioned?
Bloodborne.
Bloodborne. Yes,
the best one.
Yes, Bloodborne. I do want to play one of these days. I just never got around to it.
Yeah.
To be quite honest, like, I know we talked about, I think it was about a month or two ago.
Yeah.
That I was gonna start getting into it and play it, and I never did. So
it's tough, man. There's so many games coming out nowadays, and we buy so many games. We play a lot of different games on the channel. It's hard to stay focused on some stuff. And I understand that. I've been a big part of that too, my whole life as well. But I just want to say, people, to people that think Sony forgot about Bloodborne, they did not, man. Miyazaki's a very busy guy. He's making Elden Ring game with J.R. Martin from Game of Thrones. They're working on that game together, so that was supposed to come out this year in April. Never came out. Got pushed back to next gen. We haven't seen much of it, so, like, I want a Bloodborne 2 with Miyazaki. He's just a very busy guy. He spoke highly of this. This is the highest rated Soulsborne game to this day. And I also want to shout out Sekiro. We played that last year. Absolutely love Sekiro, another Soulsborne game. Very Tenchu related, but very different from traditional Dark Souls and Demon Souls. But I want to ask you, what piques your interest in Demon Souls, Lou? Is it just because it looks good? You're getting a shiny new PS5, so you want to... Lou and I are very lucky. We both got a PS5. Knock on wood, God forbid.
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't arrive at our house. We're about to we're about to have our PS5, you know, in a couple weeks here. Is it just the shiny new thing that you got to get, you know, or what really interests you in this experience?
I don't think it's one of those things like, oh, you have to get it, but it is an adventure that I've always wanted to do, and those type of games, where you just go around and explore, and you know, it kind of doesn't tell you where to go, and you know you have to kind of do things for yourself. I always wanted to get into that type of game, that part of games that I never really got into. So I'm trying to branch out more and more.
Yeah, so that's the whole point. If you guys are new to this channel, that's the whole point of this channel, is to kind of get you outside your comfort zone and experience a lot of games. That you see, I got a Persona 5 shirt on. You know, I always tout from the heavens about that game, but it's a real special game. And I think Demon's Souls is in that category. And what Bluepoint done, gameplay trailer 2 came out yesterday. I did not do a reaction to, but man, it looked outstanding. It blew me away. That actually looks like a next gen PS5 game, because you can't buy it anywhere else. You got to buy it on a PS5, and the animations look good. The movement, the SSD, the loading in the game, non-existent. Like, I am so excited to play, and I believe we could play multiplayer together like previous Soul games. I don't know if they confirmed that or not, but I think we can. I'm excited to platinum that game on this channel, but it's cool to see Lou and many others trying to jump in. I know a lot of you, like my cousin JJ, I love him very much. A lot of you and Chad, you know, a lot of you don't like challenges as much. You want to enjoy the game. And it could be a frustrating thing dying 100 times to something. And you guys saw me live on stream on Bloodborne. I fell off a cliff and lost 90,000 souls, right? Blood echoes, right? Live on stream like an idiot. But, you know, it wasn't the end of the world. I just have so much fun with these games, because to me, I know a lot of people, and they had an interview with Demon's Souls and Bluepoint, saying people like, oh, Demon's Souls needs to have an easy mode, and Bluepoint was like, no, it doesn't. It doesn't need to. It's hard for a reason, and that's what I like about these games, because they're not hard for the sake of being hard. This is not like putting Call of Duty or any other adventure game, you put it on the hardest difficulty and you get one shot killed and stuff like that. This game's about challenge. It's about testing you, testing your muscle memory, your memory as well in your head of how things are gonna shake out in this boss battle. Like, how you're gonna read the situation, how you're gonna react to the situation. And that's what I love about those games. And I think a lot of people overlook that. And I understand. I mean, I was there too. I didn't play these games regularly until much more recent, in the last 4 or 5 years, and I got really into Bloodborne, and it was really fun to platinum it. And you had to beat it 3 times to get the plat, and we did it here on stream, and it was absolutely amazing. I had so much fun. Those boss battles, the fact that it was so rewarding, and plus testing myself on stream as well. Being focused, having, the testicular fortitude to rise above the occasion and have that clutch, block and then stab to kill somebody, It's an amazing feeling when you accomplish something, and I think that's at a loss at a lot of games nowadays. I don't know if Lou feels that same way or anybody else, but I feel like a lot of games nowadays hold your hand, or you got to get that microtransaction so you get that new sexy card in 2K or something like that. It's not about testing yourself anymore and rising above the occasion. And that's what I love about these games, and that's why I will always appreciate the Soulsborne, Bloodborne type games, because they test you. They test you every ounce of it. There's no cheap kills. It's about you getting good, and that's what I love about it. Go ahead, Lou. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to talk over you.
No, I was just gonna say that it's funny, we had a conversation a couple days ago on a party about some of the newer games that are coming out with the Platinums, and how they're so easy now. Like I mentioned, supposedly I haven't dipped into the world yet, but Watch Dogs Legion supposedly has a very easy Platinum. And I remember...
did you pick that up today?
Yeah, I did pick that up. I did
I'm
pick it up
interested
today.
to watch you play it. I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna play it later though. I want to experience the beginning, and then when I get into it, I'll start share playing. I just want to see the beginning and get into it, get a feel
No,
and
it's my
stuff.
channel. You do what I say.
But but yeah, I mean, like we even talked about it that even games that are supposed to be harder,
Yeah.
like Persona 5 Royal, right?
Yeah.
What's the plat rate for Persona 5 Royal
It's
compared
up
to
there. It's
Persona
like
5?
16%. You know,
Yeah, and then Persona 5 is like what, one?
like
One point.
2.2 or something. It's low.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like that. You don't have to work as hard.
Yeah.
And there is no challenge to uh, these games now. I
Yeah.
mean, it's kind of like you play the game and congratulations.
Yeah.
Here's maybe a platinum.
I do appreciate Royal though, because they gave you a bunch of themes and stuff. They wanted you to get that plat.
Yeah,
But I do agree with you. I mean, a lot of games, like I'm like one trophy away from, what's it called? Goat Simulator. I do Flappy Goat. I got literally like 7 more trophies to get in Madden, and Madden's a very low platinum rate, but it's incredibly easy. I mean, it's a walk in the park, really.
yeah. But it just goes to show you by the how platinums are today.
Yes.
That games don't really give you a challenge, or they don't make you work as hard as you should.
Well, you're gonna be
So,
working for that Demon Souls plat, my friend.
That's all right. I'm ready to put my work boots on and get down to it.
Yeah.
So
Is there any other like horror games you're looking forward to? Are you gonna dip your toes into Resident Evil 8 or 7 because you gotta get it free with PlayStation Plus collection?
I might dip my toes into there. We'll see how that goes. But as far as horror, you asked me earlier what was like the latest one that I played. I don't know if we can we count Control? Does that count as a horror game?
I would actually put that in kind of psychological horror, a little bit. It's
Okay.
not traditional horror in a sense of like zombie monster or anything like that, but it's kind of psychological horror. And that was some of my favorite parts about that game was the psychological, like what is really going on. And obviously we don't really still know. Because the game kind of just ends, But yeah, I mean, you can lump it in there. I mean, like we discussed earlier, the lines are blurred now. A lot of games use horror elements now, using, like you said, mention Call of Duty with the jump scares, right?
Yeah.
Last of Us blurred the lines a lot, to the point where people wouldn't even consider it to this day still because of the story. But I would 100% call this a survival horror game. Well, I would call Last of Us Part 1 and 2 a survival horror game. Absolutely. Even though the biggest enemy to you is probably humans in those games. But maybe sometimes they're scarier than clickers. Right? Because they're actually living.
Yep.
But, lines are blurred, and Control was an interesting case for sure. And Lewin, we discussed about this. I think we discussed on the pod a few times. We really enjoyed like what they're setting up, but they just didn't have that punchline. It kind of peters out like midway through. Don't you think?
Yeah, I actually played more than halfway through, I would think, and I put it down for a while.
Yeah.
Because I kind of just lost that like the feel for me to like continue on.
Yeah.
And I kind of put it down, and I started playing Star Wars, and I was, once I beat that, I was like, I don't know if I really want to go back to it, and I ended up just going back to it and biting my tongue and finishing it, and like you said, it ended. It had a very different ending than what I expected. So
yeah,
let's see where they go. Let's see where they go next with it because of Alan Wake. I wonder if they're going to take advantage of that. Supposedly he's in the latest DLC.
Yeah. And I actually still think there are remedies on the table for Sony too. I still think that's probably one of the studios they probably want to pick up. Or at least they're thinking about it hard for sure.
I wonder if they would consider doing a remake for Alan Wake. since they got that IP back.
Yeah, since they
And
own the rights, it'd
yeah,
be great.
I wonder if they would consider that. I mean, I'm sure they're working on a Control 2, or they said they were working on another game. They said in past articles
Yeah,
that
for like
they
2 years
that
now, right?
yeah. So I don't know if we'll see anything soon, but they did mention that hey, we got the full control over Alan Wake, and that's not nothing that they just said that. You know what I mean?
Yes,
So
very true. Very true. It's a big to get that back because it was a Microsoft IP. And it's interesting they kind of let that expire, which to me kind of pushes the line forward that Sony's probably picking that studio up. At least I would put it in there. I say it's a good chance anyway.
yeah,
I'm definitely looking forward to finishing Resident Evil 7. I know we got to do more streams of it here on, or not here, but on my Twitch channel. I'm definitely looking forward to 8. I actually appreciate that they actually did Resident Evil 8 in first person again. I actually was shocked because RE2 remake and RE3 remake were very popular. They went back to norm. RE2 remake was my game of the year last year, next to Death Stranding, which had some horror elements as too. Kojima blurred some horror elements, and if you ever played Metal Gear Solid 5, there was a lot of psychological horror in that. Like he blurred a lot of that in there with Death Stranding as well, and we still got to work on that plat. There's a lot of plats working down the line. Catherine, another Atlas game. You wouldn't think traditionally is horror, but it has some horror elements where you literally die in your nightmares. You die in your nightmares. If you don't wake up from your nightmare, you're dead. So it has a nice little horror spin, as you can see, as you got to choose between the 3 waifus that you want in that game. I would always choose, you guys know who I would choose. Blondes have more fun. Statistically proven. Statistically proven. But there's a lot more I'm looking forward to on the channel horror-wise. I do want to thank Lou for joining me on this Halloween special. I think we did over an hour, right? I think.
Yeah, about that. Maybe
or about an
45
hour.
minutes.
I know it's a little bit of a shorter pod. I just wanted to bring Lou on as my guest because he is not the biggest horror savvy guy, but he's kind of dipping his toes into it, and I just wanted to see what he was thinking about. I'm interested to see, Demon Souls and where it goes from here, and hopefully the more horror elements, the horror games down the line. Are we going to get Resident Evil in 2021? It's listed for that, but I don't know, man. That game didn't look like it was running too well last trailer. But keep it tuned to the channel. Make sure you smash the hell out of the like button. Sub if you're new. Have that noti bell on so you get the notification of all the new videos or live streams here on this channel. Follow my Twitch down below. Definitely comment down below what's your favorite horror experiences or video games, movies, TV, anything, what you guys are looking forward to. Again, I want to thank my brother from another mother, Lou, Skip to my Lou, for joining me today on our Halloween special for 2020. I know a little bit of a short pod, but I hope you guys have a great day. I appreciate, or a great night, I should say. I appreciate all the love and support on this channel. Lou, I hope you had a good time. I hope I didn't waste too much of your time today.
No, I want to say thank you for having me on, and one last thing, let's go Mets. We got Steve Cohen, baby.
Congratulations to Lou's a big Mets fan. He's been waiting for this for many, many months now. I'm happy for him. They got a new owner, and an owner that's willing to help spend and help them win, and that's what you need in sports sometimes. I know a lot of you guys aren't the biggest fan of sports here, but you guys watch us play hockey and football and soccer, all these silly games on here, but we appreciate that. Again, the channel's about getting outside your comfort zone. You guys have a great night. I've been your fellow Strassman, the GG. You guys have a safe Halloween. That's Lou. We're outie.